Hello, and welcome to the Indie Plus exhibition game TLDW version. We are here with
Jason,
Joe,
Jen,
and Rich.
And I'm Brendan. We just finished a game of Nathan Paletta's Worldwide Wrestling, and now we're going to do a short, condensed discussion. First, we'll talk about our favorite highlights of the game we just played. Then we'll talk about what you should know about the game, anything that you should be definitively aware of before diving in. And finally, why you should play, the one stunning reason that you should play the game. So, without further ado, highlights. Jason, what was your highlight for the game?
So the highlight moment of the game for me was Rich's character was really doing serious injury to your character, and there was a great tension in that moment between the characters that these people were playing and the actual, I was imagining a real-life injury happening and trying to connect that to this person who is playing the character of Steve, the manager. So like that had a really cool tension to it. I loved it.
Yeah, especially because you were the only babyface good person.
Yeah.
Jen, what was your highlight?
Oh, it was totally Steven Sales when he cut the promo with the 12-in-1 potato pal. That was amazing. I loved it.
12-in-1 potato pal. Joe, what was your highlight?
yeah, when I asked Rich if he was going to legit try and injure Too True, and he said, "Oh yeah, totally." I'm like, "Yes, awesome. This is great. You know, this is how you build drama in wrestling."
With real injuries.
Hatred.
Rich, what was your highlight?
Well, I had to scratch out the first potato thing because I knew somebody was going to steal it, so I had to back up. It was Too True's entry. It was great. Just your commitment to it, Brendan, was just brilliant, and I now have it on YouTube forever.
Yeah, we're going to forward that to any prospective employers.
Yep, that's going to work.
Yay! It was great. No, it was seriously really cool, Brendan, that you did that. It was very entertaining.
And I think mine, I kind of got to go for the moment that Animal was beating on Steven, and, you know, it was sort of fake, and they were selling it, but then when it ends and Steven still tries to sell the gosh darn peeler, like, still committed, I'm like, yes. Having seen managers and play before, I loved seeing the manager like actually get into a little bit of a tiff. It was awesome. All right, so what should you know? What would you tell somebody before they picked up this game or got into it that you think it is important that they know? Rich, why don't you start us off? What would you tell someone?
So the very first thing is, you know, this is a game where you need to have comfort in narrative control, right? You can't just sit behind the eyes of your wrestler and just react. It's going to be expected that you say what happens to your person, what happens to the other people, and you got to be comfortable with that. And not everybody is, but it's actually really fun if you're in a giving environment.
Awesome. Joe, what would you tell someone that they should know?
All right. So like playing off the narrative control thing, it's just like it's not just when you're in control. It's not just all about you dominating, winning, just like doing this. And it's not like I roll after every move I do. I'm like, no, you have to understand, like, no, you can do a lot of things before you build up to the role. It's it's all about building a bigger audience for your fake television show.
Right. Jen, how about you?
So, like, I really want to be clever and, do the cut a promo thing, and I'm just bad at it. Somebody's like, they put a microphone in your face, and I'm like, I say something really clever and witty, and my character's better at that than me.
Right, so that thing of, like, I just want them to be able to do it. Whatever. Yep.
I've found if you think of bad puns, Jen, it helps.
What about you, Jason?
What you should know, I would say, is you don't have to know anything about wrestling to enjoy this game. Like, you really don't. And I don't know anything about it. Like, I know kind of the general idea of a wrestling show, but I don't watch it. I'm not that involved with it in real life. It doesn't stop you from being able to play this game. Yep. And for me, I'd really say that the game requires a thing where, like, you have to think on many different levels at once, which is really interesting, but also it's different from a lot of other RPGs. You have to think sometimes like you're the announcer,
but you also sometimes have to think as I'm the wrestler who's the character in the fiction of the actual wrestling show, then I'm also the wrestler who's the actual person playing that character in the fiction of the television show. And I'm thinking about, like, when is the time that I should roll the move versus when is the time that I'm doing a thing in the fiction. And there's a lot of different levels going on here versus most other Apocalypse World games where you're like, I am this character, and I just say what I do. And that's all I got to think about, is what my character does. All right, so why should you play? This is if you were to talk to someone and say, this is the reason you should pick up this game, this is the reason you should play it, what would you tell them? I'll start with Joe.
Oh, man. Because it's just so much fun, because you can tell any sort of story, because it can be as realistic as you want, and it can be as ultra fantastic and ridiculous as you want. Like, I mean, it runs the gamut. You can, like, no, you can, yeah, I want to be an undead sorcerer. Yeah, that exists already in real life wrestling, so you can totally be that. I was planning on making a Disney princess-based character to play today, so that was going to happen.
I'm really sorry I missed that.
Me too. It's a true tragedy. Jason, what would you say to someone?
The thing that you said about what you should know is kind of the thing that I really am attracted to in this game, which is the mini meta levels of what's happening. That you have to make sort of creative decisions, and the mechanics do a pretty good job of pushing you towards drama. So and I assume that the booking process has to do with that too. But so within that context, you're going to be in dramatic situations. But I love the idea that a decision that could work against you on one level but might be in your favor on another. And so you're constantly sort of at war with yourself when you're making decisions in this game. So that's the reason I like it.
Awesome. Rich, what about you?
This is a pretty great sports RPG. I know it's sports entertainment, right? I know that it's got a meta level with the kind of, this is just a show we're putting on type deal, but there's some really cool ways of mixing around the back and forth of an activity that could be sports, and it could absolutely be mined for a lot of different games. So it's a very neat application with the Apocalypse Engine rules as well. I'd recommend it to anybody who wants to try new ways to play Powered by the Apocalypse games.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Jen, what about you?
Yeah, so I mean, I've played before, so I actually got to wrestle that time, which is cool. Sorry, Joe. Just kidding. No, like I don't like wrestling. I'm not entertained by wrestling. I'm not interested in wrestling. But I read that Jason Morningstar was like, you must play this game, and of course, I have to do anything he says. So I played this game, and I loved it, even though I don't care about wrestling at all. So that's my recommendation. You should try it at least. You'll probably like it.
And if you don't, you're a bad person.
Well, I mean, if you don't, you disagree with Jason Morningstar, and that's basically being a bad person.
Bad person.
How dare you?
So for me, I think that really I'd sell it as, unlike almost any other Apocalypse World game, since this is about creating a show, there's a thing going on here where it's so focused on entertainment and just inherently being entertaining that even for like a short one-shot, it's just such a burst of just fun stuff happening right in front of you. And you have so many buttons to push, even when you're not actually in the scene as your character, that the likelihood that you will not be entertained at any given moment is very low, it seems. Like, you can be the announcer, you can run in, you can seize control by spending a momentum, and it's all about narrating the craziest stuff and just having fun. And like, that's kind of amazing and glorious that like it doesn't even need much rev up. You just go straight, start hitting it really quickly, which is awesome. All right, that's it. So the game, again, was Worldwide Wrestling by Nathan D. Paletta. And if you like this video, please subscribe to Indie Plus by clicking the button, which is there.
It's in front of Brendan's face is where it is, actually.
It's right here.
It says Indie Plus.
And we produce more videos like this, more exhibition games, more TLDWs, so you can expect more awesome content. And
Brendan, can I just throw in real quick here? If you want to order the game, it is up on ndpdesign.com.
Yes, and we will have that link in the description. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Joe, for running. And thank you, Rich. This was awesome, and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.